Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and a welcome back to another grey dreary day here in the UK. So continuing with my theme then, my New Year's resolution of visiting different local nature reserves. We're actually down at Titchmarsh, run by the Wildlife Trust. Don't get it confused with Titchwell Marsh, which is on the Norfolk coast, which is run by the RSPB. Now, I was looking at where to come today based on this weather. I had the kind of place I wanted to come to in my head, but I been wanting to come down to this place for a while, and I was looking, I was like, do I? So I went onto the Wildlife Trust's website and they said it is very popular for overwintering birds and the best time to come down here is February. Now it's now the 8th of February and this might actually be the last time in February I can come out with the camera. It might not be till the start of March. Now, already come down here and there's a few hides already. So, this place should be quite interesting because it's obviously very popular for water birds, and apparently there's a lake which is very popular for breeding herons and egrets as well. So I'm quite interested in that. So, unfortunately that's furthest part of the blooming lakes. Wow, I can see literally everywhere hides. This place looks awesome. Okay, right, stick with us. I'm rambling a little bit. I'm going to go see what we can see. You won't be able to see it, but there's an egret just out there over one of those ridges. Oh, that's encouraging. Okay, so that first hide was a bit of a bust. It was quite far away from the water, to be honest. And, sorry, the pathway is really slippy, so if I fall over, I apologise now. Yeah, there was an island out there, and I shot a bit of B-roll through the A7R4. And the problem with it was I had that on 600mm in crop mode, and that was as close as I could get. So, not very good for the photography aspect. However, I walked 2 minutes further down the path and there was another hide. That was a bit more successful. Managed to get some shots off of some coots, gadwall, random robin who was just flitting around in the bushes near it. And I did see that there was some widgeons, some, oh, and I saw a great egret as well fly down the back. I was too far away to get any pictures, but never mind. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to come down here today is kind of leading on to a bit of a topic I want to talk about, and that's shooting in dreary, miserable conditions like it is today. And I wanted to sort of give some tips, some pointers on getting out with the camera and shooting in conditions like this. Now, the reason I've come down here, sorry, there's a bird over there. I can't see what it is. He's gone. Because one of the things that will benefit you shooting in grey skies like this is by not shooting into the sky. Now that sounds quite self-explanatory, and sometimes that's not always possible. Like my trip down to Green Nature Reserve, and I photographed the buzzard sat in the tree. Couldn't really do much about not getting sky in there. So if you're shooting in conditions like this, what I would advise, or if you want to get out with the camera in conditions like this, what I would advise is to get out and shoot things like water birds, or potentially head to the coast and do some coastal bird photography, because then you're not shooting with potentially sky in the background. Because if you get this behind you, it's going to do nothing but just white out the background, like in that buzzard shot. So there's a little tip. We'll come back and talk about shooting in grey skies more in a minute. I'm going to keep wandering around Titchmarsh, see what else we can see. Okay, so time to do some more filming now. I've actually found a bit of path that I'm not going to fall over on. So, okay, so let's come back and talk about shooting on grey days then. So obviously I've mentioned, the key one is to avoid actually getting the sky in any of your shots. And a tip to help that is to go out and photograph water birds, birds on the water, or coastal birds. Another tip as well is try not to shoot in shaded areas because it is quite dull and dingy. Your best bet is not necessarily to go into some kind of thick wood when it's like this, because all you're going to do is end up with dark images, ramping up your ISO, things like that. So yeah, try and pick your location to suit the conditions. Now, another thing as well, mentioning ISO, is on a day like today, it can be quite dark and very dull. So what you want to do is maybe pick somewhere where you can use a camera support, tripod, monopod, things like that, ground pod if you have to. And if you can utilize those things, you can obviously use slower shutter speeds and get that ISO down. Now, shooting at high ISO isn't a problem, I do it all the time. But for better images, you want a lower ISO. So there we go, a couple of tips on shooting on grey days. We'll come back and talk about it a bit more in a bit. I've just got to the edge of one of the lakes. I'm still not at the Herony Lake yet, which is the bit that I'm really looking forward to. So I'm just going to have a walk down to the water's edge and see what I can see. Way up, slippery path. Oh, this is nice, actually get down to the water's edge for a bit. I can see some birds out on the water just over there, but not actually sure what they are, or if they're going to be miles too far away. Goldeneye. Yeah, definitely a Goldeneye. It's quite far away though. It's definitely a Goldeneye, but it's too far away to actually make anything of it. But happy days, we've seen them. Happy days. From a distance I thought they were grebes, but well, just Canada geese. Oh, happy days. Goldeneye shot. Don't know if that bit of video would be any good, but that's a bit of a result. Right, let's try and crack on to the Herony Lake. I think this is the hide for Herony Lake now. go have a look. Okay, so not exactly many visible herons on Heronry Lake. Never mind. Did get a couple of pictures of cormorants and stuff while I was on there. So I'll stick those up in a minute. So we'll keep bimbling around Titchmarsh. Okay, so not having a massive amount of luck down here at the minute. And I'll tell you what, it's given me one hell of a workout. All this boggy area is making my thighs burn. It's like walking on sand, but worse. It's like skiing. You're kind of digging through, trying to get through it. I'm absolutely caked in mud pretty much to up to the knees. It's mental. But that's the joys of coming down nature reserve like this. You've got to get a bit muddy. Yeah, so I went into the heron hide, which you'll have seen the pictures from. Nothing spectacular in there. Some nice cormorants, but there was a chappie in there already when I got in there, so obviously didn't want to film while he was in there. But yeah, so I say I'm making my way back to the car now. I've actually still got quite a distance to go, but c'est la vie. I'll just keep walking and see what else I see. Now, just coming back to the whole grey skies thing, you can see through the trees it's really not letting up at all. It's just grey and flat. There's no texture in the sky, no nothing. Now, one thing you can do if you have skies like this, if you want to shoot into the sky, you could try something a little bit more artistic and go with some high key kind of stuff. It can work if you do it right. Another thing as well to take into consideration is using your exposure compensation. If, like me, you shoot on auto ISO and you're trying to get that balance right, why not add some exposure compensation? Shoot into the sky and really blow it out to get some nice high key effect. So yeah, there's another little tip. So we've got, consider the location, try and avoid shooting into the sky, maybe play with the high key stuff. Oh, and obviously watch your ISO as well, because it can just be an absolute nightmare if it's really dark, or depending on what metering mode you are using, it can be a real pain because obviously the skies are quite bright. So it can push the ISO down, but it will mean that the birds or wildlife that you're shooting is really underexposed. So yeah, just a couple of bits to bear in mind. Right, I'm going to stop gabbering on. Going to go see if we can find any more bird or wildlife down here. And yeah, we'll come back and sign out in a bit. Oh man, I thought I'd managed to bag a bucket list shot. Red kite perched up in a tree. I've mentioned it before, and got some shots off. Yes, it's shooting against a blown out white sky, which is a real shame. However, on closer inspection, doesn't matter anyway, because he's got branches and twigs right in front of him, which is not ideal, to say the least, but never mind. As I say, went against the tips that I've been saying about anyway, about shooting in grey conditions, but never mind. It was worth attempting the shot than just not bothering. Now, I'm almost back at the car, so I'm going to sign out now. Obviously, if I get any more shots on the way back to the car, I'll stick them up at the end of this, so stick around. Now, obviously, if you like this video and our little topic, our little discussion around shooting in grey conditions like this, to try and encourage you to just go out with the camera anyway. Obviously, yeah, give us the old thumbs up. And if you don't already, drop some subscribes from down the bottom and hit that notification bell. And yeah, this is Mike out. Take care and be safe, everyone. Peace.